Hello everyone and welcome to Game 2 between IMMVP and SlayersCella, and Game 1 was actually very one-sided for IMMVP, the King of Terrans. He is so good, and besides a nice little counterattack by Cella into MVP's main base, killing about 5 or 6 SCVs, I mean, nothing went right for Cella. He actually lets Hellions inside his main base where he could have prevented that. He let a bunker finish, not attacking the building SCV, attacking the bunker instead, and really everything going wrong. So he is going to have to show a lot of skills in this game to actually come back in the series. MVP, I do believe he is going to go for the same opening because we have seen that opening a lot from him lately, and it has been so effective. In case you haven't seen Game 1, it is a barracks gas. He is going to produce a reactor on the first barracks, swap it out with the factory, and instantly expand behind that while the Hellions gain map control. And really, a lot of Terrans have been doing that lately, and it has been so good against Zerg because it does force roaches or spine crawlers or a lot of queens, and we really need to do something about it because lanes just don't cut it against Hellions. And there is a lot of chatter going up between these two players. They are good friends, both Korean players, both training extensively between each other. IM and Slayers are actually fairly close houses, and they usually practice a lot against each other. And SlayersCella is actually going for an expansion first. So I like this decision. Even though the expansion is so open on this map, he knows that MVP is actually going to go for probably the same opening. So he is not going to feel any 2 racks pressure, and as we say this, we can see that the gas is already started. 2 Marines are actually not even rallied to Cella's base, so he will be very safe behind this. Look for a factory as soon as that initial 100 gas is up and mined. There it is. So when that 150 minerals is up, you will see a factory. Don't make me eat my words. There it is, the factory. Gonna swap out. Gonna make room for a reactor. I wonder why he actually lifted that up. I do think that was a small blunder. There it is. He is lifting it up once again and building that reactor. Gonna swap it out with the factory. Meanwhile, these Marines actually doing a bit of damage. They managed to kill a single drone. Yes, they did. Or was that units lost for blue? Yeah, they did manage to kill a single drone. These Lings are going to chase the Marines back home. And once again, this is looking to be the exact same game, but the Roach Warren is fairly quicker than last game. So Cella actually going for a Roach Warren, not going to overproduce queens. He does only have 1 queen, producing 3 roaches. I love this decision. Last game he actually went for 4 queens and a Roach Warren. I think that was just a bit too much to support on one base. And gonna go for roaches, gonna be able to block off this ramp and deal with any kind of Hellion pressure. Meanwhile, the command center is actually going up for MVP, so the exact same build. Double gas now. Expect this factory to swap out with the barracks as soon as the initial 4 or 6 Hellions are out on the field. This barracks gonna produce a tech lab. Meanwhile, the 3 roaches are actually gonna walk up to MVP's base, and these Hellions might actually be able to run by, not paying attention. Gonna lose 1 Hellion, and the low blunder here by MVP. Now there is really nothing at the top of the ramp to actually guard the supply depot. The Overlord does get picked off by the Marines, but now 5 roaches on the field gonna walk up here, and really there is nothing to guard this. A single Marines and a few Hellions. Hellions do so little damage to Roach. It is actually quite sad. Now focusing down the bunker, he should actually take down the supply depots before they are repaired. The bunker does go down. These roaches have forced at least 100 minerals. Now gonna focus down the reactor. The roaches are actually free to walk up here, killing a lot of SCVs 4 workers killed, 5 workers killed, gonna stutter step. Now our Marauder and the Hellions gonna be able to work and clean up the roaches, but that was actually nice damage done by SlayersCella. Now 29 to 20 harvesters, so he is actually gonna have such an advantage. I think he could actually just stream Banelings and bust this straight up. The reactor is getting rebuilt on the factory, so now even building a tech lab on that, not going to have tanks for quite some time. So really, I think a Baneling bust could be a very, very, very real threat at this point. Fortunately for MVP, no Baneling nests are gonna be built, but a hatchery at the goal base. Very bold move by Cella at this point. He knows he's ahead, but that far ahead, I don't know. These Hellions are gonna walk across the map, and they are gonna spot this if they even take control of the Zelnaga Tavern. I don't think that MVP actually saw that just yet. You can see his camera just flickering around. Is he going to walk to the Zelnaga Tower to spot this? I don't know. No, he does not. He goes back home not knowing about the gold base, and this might just be his downfall. As soon as that gold base is up and running, I mean, Cella will be able to just stream so many lings at this point. Expect him to actually get a macro hatch once this finishes, because that is going to be so much production off of just off of 3 bases. And still, these Hellions not spotting their gold base. I mean, why should they? At this point, if they walk up to the Zelnaga Caverns, these roaches are actually just gonna sandwich them and clean them up. The Hellions doing a bit of damage, forcing the drones to actually walk back to the main base. Spawning for 3rd base, he does not see it, so he thinks that Cella is actually still on 2 bases. Meanwhile, the drones are actually transferring to the main base, and this income is just gonna shoot up so far up. The mules aren't even going to be able to catch back to this income. Really, 2 spine crawlers. I love this decision. I mean, this gold base, if he can keep it safe, will be huge. And that is just 4 Hellions. A lot of Marauders gonna go and attack that 2nd base. The production tab shows 14 lings. I don't know if that's going to be enough. This is such a strong push by MVP at this point. And the big engagement, the roaches are just gonna fall down so quickly to the Marauders, and now this push is actually looking so scary. This 2nd base is actually in danger of falling, and I do think that MVP is wondering where are all the units. I mean, on 2 bases, this should not happen. And now I wonder what Cella is gonna do at this point. If he holds this off, he is gonna be in such a great shape. Pulling drones and losing all his drones, but really this push is just too strong by MVP. The Marauders doing so much damage to the roaches. Roaches just die flat out to the Marauders, and I think this is gonna be a very, very fast 2-0 victory by MVP. So we are going to go into Game 3 of the best of 5 series. But really, this has just been a dominating play by MVP. Will he actually be able to clean this up? More reinforcing Marauders at this point. More Hellions. Hellions so good against Lings. Marauders so good against Roaches. Cella does not have any answer to this. Losing the 2nd natural expansion base. And does MVP actually know about this gold expansion? He does know about it now. He is going to go attack it straight up after this. It is now 2 bases versus 2 bases. Walking up to the gold base, he does see the spine crawlers, and that is actually quite dangerous. He will need more Marauders. He could just walk into the main base and take out all these tech buildings. +1 melee attack is almost done for Cella. But really, it is 80 versus 67 supply, 44 to 32 harvesters. I mean, Cella being picked apart by MVP, just showing how good he is. Now going to kill every single drone at the gold base. That is a lot of roaches, though. Will he actually be able to clean this up? It does look like it. But it is now 66 to 64 supply. I think that Slayers is actually going to go all in with these roaches. I think that MVP should be able to hold this off, though. The bunker full of Marauders. that is just so tight at this point. A lot of SCVs being pulled off the mineral line. Those Marauders doing so much damage at the back of the bunker, not even going down at this point, and the Marauders just doing huge damage. This bunker not even going down. The SCVs all repairing it. The bunker's still at full health, and I think that MVP will be able to hold this. The second bunker is almost completed. As soon as this is done, I mean, there is no busting through this. And there we go, gonna clean this up, and at this point it is 23 to 36 harvesters. It is 38 to 66 supplies, so I think that Cella will GG soon enough out of this. I mean, MVP could just walk up to the main base or the gold base, take it out, and force a GG. He will wait for maybe that starport is actually not even constructing at this point. No SCV on it. He might wait for a medevac just to drop the main base, because if he leaves that main base, he is vulnerable to counterattacks. But there are so few units on the field for Cella, and really he is going to spot this. Losing a couple more lings is not what you want. The third base is going up for MVP. The gold base is now up and running back again by Cella, but it is now only 2 bases, 2, 3 for MVP. MVP does have triple mules. Look at all those mules. You can see the income tab, 2,100 minerals per minute compared to only 1,000. Cella is actually working his way back in the harvester tab, 41 to 43 harvesters, but he is so far behind on tech, on expansions. His main base is almost mined out. You can see 300 minerals on every single patch here. A Hellion's gonna walk up into the main base, fry even more workers. That is 26 workers killed. He is going to be able to clean up the rest of these lings as well. The ling's going to try and focus down the injured Hellion. He does manage to pick it off, but that is just going to be such a scary army by MVP. You can see a tank, a lot of Marines, a few Marauders are going to be able to just clean this up so fast. I wonder what he is actually waiting for. A few mutas gonna walk inside the main base. If he's not careful, he might actually lose one. Losing one muta for absolutely nothing. And really, SlayersCella once again is being picked apart. I loved this bold move of getting the gold base, but he was not able to defend his expansion. And it is now 115 to 75 supply. This push will just end the game. MVP gonna walk up to the main base and pick it apart. There is just so little units on the field for SlayersCella at this point. Only 6 lings and 8 mutas. What can they do against 1 tank and a handful of Marines? That is just not gonna happen, and look for the GG anytime soon at this point, because that is just so many units. 2 mutas in production as well as 10 lings, but I mean, that is not even gonna make a dent in this huge army. There it is, the GG. So we are going into game 3 of SlayersCella versus IMMVP, so tune in for that, guys.